This is the plaintiff, Anthony Small. He says he rented a room from the defendant, paid him in advance for it, but never fully got to move in. Turns out the defendant reneged on their deal, gave the room to one of his family members, and for some strange reason he won't return all of his money. He's suing the louse for the remaining $400 he's owed and plans to win this case today. This is the defendant, Ramel Smith. He says the plaintiff kept changing his story about the move-in date, started acting fishy, and he became uncomfortable having him as a tenant. He told him he didn't want him living there, returned his unused rent and security, and simply owes him nothing more. He's accused of gouging a guy.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says he rented a room from the defendant, never moved in, and got swindled. But the defendant says plaintiff was just plain fishy. It's the case of Name That Tune.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Anthony Small, you are suing Ramel Smith for $400, the remaining refund of a room deposit that you say he refuses to give back to you that you're entitled to. Tell me what happened.
I found him over Craigslist. He had a room for rent. I went to see the room.
Okay.
At that time, he said he would consider me, so I gave him $500.
Okay. And then was there a receipt for the $500?
Yes, he did.
Do you have it?
Yes, I do.
May I see it? Okay, so I guess he was renting it to you at that
Yes,
point. All right,
yes.
so $500 for rent on February. Wait, this is February 18th. The
There
very
is
first
one
was.
of them that there was.
Okay, so the first one says February 7th for $400 deposit rent, right? And it says from 2/7.
That's the mistake, I believe. That's the Sunday of February, and I was
Right.
expected to move in on the 15th of March, but it didn't happen
Why not?
because he said that day, he called me and he said he couldn't rent me the room anymore. He had a family member that he wanted to give the room to, and that was that.
Two of these receipts are numbered number 1,
I saw.
and one of them is numbered number 3. I just don't
I
even
saw.
understand what's going on here. So according to your recollection, you gave him $500 the first time, and then what
And
happened?
600 the following day,
How much money total did you give him?
$1,200.
There's no dispute about that, right? Okay.
No.
So you were supposed to start renting from when to when?
I was expected to pay rent on the 7th of every month. That was
Right.
the only
So,
discrepancy.
and the first time you give him money is on the 7th?
No, the 19th.
What's going on?
I made an ad, everything he said, I made an ad on Craigslist for the room.
Go on.
Whatever. The first time I did meet him was on the 7th when he came made a deposit. The deposit was $400. He made multiple deposits through all the way out. He wanted to move in the day after Valentine's Day, I think that was the 15th. But still, it was the 20th, he still wasn't there yet.
What was the agreement for? Was for him to rent the place for how much? $1,200 a month?
No, $1,200 for the security and the first month rent.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right, so $600 a month.
$600 a month.
All right, and then he couldn't come up with the $600. According to you, came up with how much?
He
$400?
came up with the first time $400, then he came with another $200. They made a couple more
No.
payments after that.
That isn't true.
Okay, at what point do you decide you're not moving in there, or
No,
he decides you're not
called me
moving?
the morning that I was expected to move in. I
Which
told
is
him
what day? What day is that?
The 15th of February.
Okay, he tells you what?
And he says he's unable to rent me the room. He has a family member that he's going to give the room to.
Okay, but then according to this, you gave him another $800 after that?
They're not.
All
the
right,
dates
when is
are-
it that you
the
decide
dates
that
are
you don't want him
crazy.
to live there?
The 21st, I called him.
No.
Early in the morning, I called him. I said, I'm not able to give you the room. I'm going to give you your money back, but I'm going to give you $800 back.
Why?
Because he's been renting the room since the 7th of February.
Okay.
He hasn't moved in there. He had a copy of a key. He had everything. He just didn't come move in there.
So?
He said he still had somewhere
Better
else
for
to
you.
stay.
I don't
He has somewhere to
understand.
stay.
First of all, it's up to him when he feels like moving in. He could just
Exactly.
rent the place and not even move in. It's like,
Exactly.
yeah. So let's start with that. All right, but it's in the middle of the month. Now he has a plan to move in, and you say, oh, don't bother because I have a family member coming in, and he's paid you the month. He's paid you the security. You're giving him zero notice and telling him don't even bother finishing. How do I understand why you did that.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of two reasons. Number one, you're worried because the guy can't get the finances together, and you're worried about him coming up with rent. Or you have a family member who needs it. That's great for you. You change your mind. But that's it for him, and he has no notice, and he doesn't know and you're going to keep some money?
Okay, so here's the thing. So the tenant pays money for the room, decides not to move in, but then says, you know what, I am going to move in. And the landlord says, nope, you can't move in. Can the landlord say that once the tenant paid the money? I'll tell you what, get back to me on it, okay?
No, I can answer.
Okay. You got to do it quick, though. I'll tell you what.
I get it.
Okay.
I gotta understand.
Can the tenant move in and say it's my place until the end of the lease?
I think you should, because if you pay for it, then you should have it.
Fair enough. What do you think?
You paid for it. You should have it.
So it's yours no matter what.
No matter.
Landlord can't re-rent it.
Nope.
That's what you should have said. Okay. Going inside the courtroom.
I kept his money only because I was like the last week rent.
I know what you. I know why you kept his money, because you felt like you could. But then, as it turns out, the man knows how to defend himself and filed a lawsuit and wants it back.
No, it was a problem, but that's why I gave him
Give the guy the money. You totally pulled the rug out from under him. Look, in life we make decisions, and they could be good ones. Like it's not in my best interest to let him move in because I want it for a family member, or I feel like it's taken him too long to get together. Whatever reason you're going to have. But those decisions can cost us and not the other guy. And this is one of those cases. Pay the man back his $400. $400 verdict for the plaintiff.
Well, Mr. Smith, what do you think about paying this guy his money back?
It's not a problem. I mean, it's not a problem paying back his $400. I mean, it was all big screw up and everything, and that's about it.
Didn't you know you had to give him some notice, and you can't just...
Not really. I didn't know I had to give him notice unless he lived there. He wasn't living there. He didn't move in, and he kept giving me different type of notice when he was moving in, so I didn't give him no notice.
All right, right around the corner this way, okay. All right, so step on in here. You satisfied? I guess so, how this comes out.
Satisfied, yes.
What gave you the idea that you were going to go to court to do this? How'd you know?
I just knew that I had to go to court. I didn't know, whether I was going to do it or not, but I felt that I needed to do it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm very satisfied.
All right. Okay, Harvey?
Okay, you know what, Kurt? This is just a classic lease situation that as long as the tenant is entitled to that property after paying the money, the landlord is out of luck. The landlord can't just say, oh, I'm going to lease it and then get double the money. If the tenant pays for it, it's the tenant's place.